Good morning once again and welcome to Reflection, a closing program for the Hispanic Association of Colleges and Universities National Internship Program at the Library of Congress. I'm Kelly McKenna, and I'm with the Internship and Fellowship Programs Office as the Interim Program Coordinator for HNIP at the library. Our collaboration with HNIP increases the library's capacity to provide opportunities for experiential learning and professional development while creating an environment where library management staff can provide mentorship. Today, we celebrate the achievements of 17 interns who have traveled far and near, some for the first time, to Washington, D.C. These undergraduate and graduate students have come from all across the United States and Puerto Rico with so much talent, curiosity, tireless energy, and not to mention flexibility. They leave here after 14 short weeks of interning with us. Short, but not without leaving a big impact on the library. Simply take a look inside your program booklet, and you'll discover all they have achieved. They've accomplished all of this and more. Not only did they collaborate, write articles featured in the Gazette, curate materials to increase access and support the library's mission, they were busy, attending classes, working on job applications, all while adjusting to life in DC. We recognize that our interns are at a pivotal stage in their lives, juggling multiple priorities, and are ready to apply to real jobs in the competitive market. All of this, of course, would not be possible without the incredible support, mentoring, and guidance of supervisors, alum, and other library staff. Your mentorship, your stories, and your passion, all of that contributes to shaping an individual's career path and their future accomplishments. Before we move on to the rest of the program, I want to take a moment to thank Kimberly Powell, Chief of IFP, for her leadership. Kimberly also supports HNIP with genuine enthusiasm and engagement, often teaching the enrichment sessions. Thanks also to fellow IFP team members Eric Eldridge, Barrie Howard, Linda Moranis, and Antonio Parker for working with me to improve the experiences of interns and their supervisors. Thanks to Knowledge Navigators for providing the refreshments available immediately following the program and for funding the program booklet. And finally, a special thank you to Jane Sanchez, Deputy Librarian for LCSG, and Colleen Shogan, Assistant Deputy Librarian for LCSG. We appreciate your leadership and for leveraging IFP to broaden and reach the impact of the library. Let's welcome Colleen Shogan as she brings us her opening remarks.
Thank you. I always love coming to talk at some of the reflection ceremonies because it's such a positive experience, and it always happens in the morning, so it's a great way to start the day. So on behalf, certainly, of the senior management team here at the Library of Congress, I want to applaud you for your achievements and thank you for coming to spend time with us here at the Library of Congress. There's many places, many government agencies, many organizations in which you could have spent your internship, and you chose to spend it with us, and that really matters. I'd like to get through a few thank yous before we go on to the rest of the program. Certainly the team with Internships and Fellowships program led by Kimberly Powell. They have been your touchstone for this program, and they are an incredibly high-functioning, productive team. So we want to be sure to thank them for providing you with the experiences that you've had, including Barrie Howard and Kelly McKenna, who you've already heard from, our HNIP coordinators, who engage really in all the leadership and planning for the program. Next, I'd like to acknowledge the supervisors. I know you're in the audience. If you could please stand, the supervisors for the interns. Thank you. Because really, without your guidance, this program would not work, and it would not work effectively. Thank you to all of our coordinators and all of our service units, our colleagues in Contracts and Grants Directorate, and our colleagues really throughout the library who handled a lot of administrative matters, HCD, and a lot of our partner operations organizations that make this program a possibility. And I'd now also like to acknowledge the HNIP alumni who work at the library or as federal employees and public servants. Can you please stand if you are an HNIP alumni? Yeah, there's a few. There you go. 3. Well, there, see? And also our HACU staff partners who help us make this program. Are they here? They're on their way. Okay, great. It was actually very bad traffic this morning, so if they're trying to get here, they might be having problems. Each of you have certainly worked very hard and left a permanent mark here at the Library of Congress on the projects that you've worked on. It's very important to gain valuable work experiences as you're considering how your career will develop. And the library is certainly pleased to participate in this program. And I've said this before at these reflection ceremonies. Sometimes you engage in an internship and you find something that you're going to do for the rest of your life, or the career path that at least you're going to be on in the near future. And if you're able to do that, that's terrific. And that really helps you get your career started in the right direction. But almost equally as valuable is if you have an experience, and maybe it's a good experience, but you decide that's not the path that I'm going to take for this portion of my career or in the near future. That's also really valuable information. I know I engaged when I was particularly in graduate school in externships, because I was kind of looking around. Do I want to be in academia? What do I want to do with my political science degree? And actually the most valuable experiences I had were the things that I decided I did not want to do and that I was not suited to do, because it helped narrow my focus and realize what the next steps in my career actually should be. Our talented interns certainly accomplish a lot in just 14 weeks here at the library, and I'm going to list some highlights. This is not inclusive, but it's representative. Identifying contact information from past national book festivals to create a new list of publicists, creating new video content for the Library of Congress social media platforms, tracking and reporting information technology contingency plan reports, and creating an inventory of primary sources related to Latin American composers held in the music division. And there are many, many more examples, and we're going to hear about some of them today. So the 17 HNIP interns that are here this fall join a cohort of over 300 HNIP interns that have been at the Library of Congress, either through this program or through the co-op program. So it is a really big legacy, and hopefully that can also serve as a network for you as you go forward, that can serve as people that can be resources for you, and certainly can help you as you move on with the development of your career. And as you know, IFP has been working very hard to create a new website, the IFP portal, of which the first phase is already up and running, and the second phase will be up and running hopefully by the end of next year. We are going to make use of a lot of your stories. They will be featured, with your permission, on the IFP portal. So you will also help inform others who are interested in coming and participating in this program and doing an internship here at the Library of Congress. So your work will live on. So now we're going to transition to, I think, which is the best part of this program, which is hearing from our 2 internship speakers and also our supervisor speaker. So today we're going to hear from Melody Ethley, Guadalupe Rojas, followed by HNIP supervisor Max Wu.
Good morning, everybody. Gonna get these papers. All right, so my name is Melody Ethley, and June 17th, 2019 was the day that my LLC journey began. I was fresh out of undergrad, degree in hand, a young professional ambitiously seeking my next opportunity, ready to enter a new chapter of my life. It had been weeks since I heard from the internship program, and I remember my parents reminding me just to remain patient and hopeful. When I received the call, I was overwhelmed with emotion. First, gratitude was arriving, and then second, I was a bit apprehensive. At first, or that moment, I realized I would be spending the next months living and working in the nation's capital. So as a returning intern, I already knew the ropes. Yes, I would be in the same position. However, I had taken on a whole new perspective. I was going to have the chance to meet a whole new cohort and build those connections. I remember the first day like it was yesterday. For many of us, this was the start of our new beginning. Within hours of arriving, we were taken on the grand tour of the Great Hall. And what an experience it was, right? Right, guys? So learning about the history depicted through the art and the architecture in the Great Hall was breathtaking. In that moment, I knew for sure that we were in for a great run. Little did we know this was not the only lasting impression that the library was going to leave on us. I'm sure none of us knew what we were getting into, but looking back, I am grateful for the growth and exposure that the library has gained for us. Enrichment events specifically curated for young and emerging professionals have equipped us with the tools that we needed to be successful. Interactive workshops like LinkedIn, resume writing, and interview skills are the newest additions to our professional toolboxes. In fact, these very workshops have led us to build meaningful connections here within the library. The real-time work we've contributed to has truly played an integral role in upholding the mission of the library, which is to engage, inspire, and inform. We have been a part of planning processes that will lead to expanding diversity within internships and have also assisted in drafting disaster recovery plans for OCIO. We have made contributions on projects that will help build resilience in the Caribbean and have served as a liaison between the National Library Services and libraries in Puerto Rico to support their Spanish-speaking users. In my internship experience, I was able to lead my own research project that led to production of product personas for the UX team. And I also conducted user experience testing within the law library to help the usability and accessibility of law.gov. Additionally, I was partly responsible for uploading National Book Fest videos onto LOC.gov, which will be accessible to the millions of users that visit the library site annually. So that is something that I never thought I'd be able to say. To my fellow interns, realize that our contributions during this time are moving parts of something much greater. We have opened our worlds and experienced things that we never thought that we could imagine. We have so many things to be proud of. With that being said, we weren't on this journey alone. I'd like to take this time to briefly thank everybody who has been a part of this journey and that we have met along the way. Your words of wisdom, encouraging advice will inspire us to become who we are meant to be. Personally, I'd like to give a special thank you to my supervisor, Wendy Stingle. Thank you for your guidance and your support since the day that we met. It has been awesome being your intern. To the UX team, I truly appreciate you guys for pouring in your knowledge to me and accepting me from day one. Being a part of this team has been nothing short of fulfilling. So let's fast forward, shall we? Here we are. Can you guys believe it? It's week 14. We're finally not making wrong turns in Madison, so that's great. Our experience interning at the Library of Congress has finally come to an end. So, as we close this door on this next chapter in our lives and pursue the next big step, I challenge you to spend some time reflecting on how you're feeling in this very moment. Right now. Spend some time. So congratulations, you guys. We did it. As we continue to embark on our individual endeavors, keep in mind that this is a process and that you have to own this journey. Character is shaped on your path to your goals, and strength of character is developed on your journey through the trials and lessons experienced. One truth that consistently drives my pursuit to continue to achieve greatness is persistence beats resistance. It is an attitude that will continuously fuel your journey forward. Thank you for your time and enjoy the rest of the program.
Good morning, fellow interns, supervisors, and staff. I remember marking this day on my calendar, and I just couldn't wait for it. And now I don't want to leave anymore. Well, my name is Guadalupe Rojas, and many of you knew me as simply Lupe. And I would like to start by asking everyone to take a moment and remember where you were a year ago. In my case, I was completing my first semester of teaching credentials back in Pomona, California. Until last year, my ultimate goal was to become a history teacher, but DC changed my life. After being exposed to the world of politics and diplomacy, I realized that there was a bigger world to explore and more experiences to gain. For the first time, I took a risk and I submitted my application for Haku like 2 days before the deadline. I reminded myself that a no was better than a what if. A week before I started student teaching, I was offered a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that I could not reject. It took a lot of courage to leave my home, my loved ones, and school behind. Like many of you, I landed in DC not knowing what to expect. All I knew is that we had 4 months ahead of us. Now that we are concluding this internship experience, let us take a moment and recognize our accomplishments. In the past 14 weeks, our cohort has worked in collaboration with library specialists, publishing houses, research analysts, and congressional staff. Together, we have generated metadata to facilitate records for rare materials, created inventory for primary sources, conducted scholarly research to author blog posts on social media, co-authored CRS Insight reports, and shared knowledge and research skills to inform Congress about current policy issues. Personally, I never saw myself working at a library, more than a library, a federal agency. Little did I know that my spreadsheets on Microsoft Excel were going to make rare material discoverable in the library's online catalog, materials that had been stored in the library stacks for decades. Our work has not only impacted our personal growth and development, but also the library's mission as a whole. As we gain new skills, knowledge, and interests, we provided knowledge to Congress, the federal government, and the American public. Fortunately, our experiences have surpassed our expectations. We proved to ourselves that we are worthy of greatness and that it is possible to obtain what may seem out of our reach. DC is a competitive environment, but regardless of that, we were selected because we are capable individuals with unique stories and ambitions. Until today, there are people who giggle when I say I have a bachelor's degree in history, but I am proud of my degree because it got me here. In the past 14 weeks, IFP has expanded my horizons through mentorship, orientations, and workshops that introduced me to endless opportunities. In addition, I had great supervisors and mentors, Angie Ha and Krista Marr, who reminded me that I was here to work, but mostly to learn. Thank you for enriching my experience day by day. And to the Ahmed staff and Sharon, thank you for letting me contribute to projects that enhance my capacity, skills, and intelligence. I will remember you all as extraordinary mentors who pushed me to dream bigger. Remember that BA in history? Well, it is my first degree, but not my last. My experiences in DC have developed new vistas that made me find a new purpose in life. Although it hurts to leave teaching aside, I am very excited about my new career goals. I am now more determined than ever to obtain a master's degree in public policy to protect the environment and bring change to underrepresented communities. I am proud of myself, and I am also proud of you all. Regardless of our hardships and fears, we will be returning home as transformed individuals. So congratulations, Haku cohort. We have a new chapter to add to our lives and new skills to add to our resumes. I really hope that you take advantage of this experience and continue to work hard, be intellectually curious, kind, and tough. Wherever you go, do not forget the library, your supervisors, as they all play a critical role in your transformation. Thank you all for being here, and good luck in all that is to come.
Good morning. Can you hear me? Congratulations to you, to Melody, Miss Ethley, to Lupe, Miss Rojas, and to all of you. To my own intern, I'm very proud of you for all that you've accomplished this season. So my name is Max Wu. I work in OCIO for the Library of Congress. I am the program manager, program officer for the BCDR program. So BCDR stands for business continuity, and IT disaster recovery. So whenever there is a disaster or major service disruption, when IT breaks, my team is in charge of ensuring that we have plans in place to recover what's broken, to make sure that IT services are recovered for all of our library stakeholders, our customers, and our public. More than any other OCIO function, I would argue, we are a cross-functional team that requires a diversity of disciplines, experiences, and talent, right? So we need to know all the technical details of what we need to do to recover our highly complex data center equipment. We need to understand the business of the library and the mission areas that our IT supports. And we need to be able to communicate clearly and effectively to our stakeholders. And that's why I've really loved our HNIP program and the interns that they provide, that the program has really given me the privilege to work with. This is my 4th season working with a HAKU intern, and HAKU has really given my program a breadth of diversity. We've worked with folks from Puerto Rico, from Venezuela, from New Mexico. And not even geography. I've worked with people from all kinds of disciplines, from construction to physical security, from computer science, and all disciplines. And they've been able to help my program think of new ideas, new ways to do things, new ways to write our plans and to execute all of our tests and exercises and make sure that we are successful as a library. Which leads me to my first advice to you. Thank you, Kimberly and Kelly. You've asked me to share some words of advice to the graduating class. Graduation is the right word. Embrace diversity, right? Think back to all that you've learned in this program, all the different types of people you've interacted with, all the different types of work that you've done, and how much that all of that creates value together, right? You know, when Thomas Jefferson sold his collections to the Library of Congress to restart the Library of Congress, he said once that there is, in fact, no subject to which a member of Congress may not have occasion to refer. I would venture to say that applies to all of our lives and our professional lives, right? Never cease to learn new ideas, to learn new disciplines, to meet new people, and to continue to embrace diversity in all of your profession. Next, be proud of your work. So when I say be proud of your work, I don't mean to say be egotistical about it and look down on others, but I mean reflect back to all that we've done at the Library of Congress. So the library, we serve Congress first and foremost. We are Congress's source of information for research and for all things knowledge related, right? Next, we serve the American people. We have a mission to collect as much information as we can and to make it available to the American public. And I would argue that these two missions prop up our society, our community, and our government. James Madison, we're in the Madison building, James Madison, the president that we're named after in this building, he once said, "The advancement and diffusion of knowledge is the only guardian of true liberty." That speaks to the value that the Library of Congress brings to American people. And I think that you should be proud to have served here and to have supported Congress, supported the American people, and that impacts all of the communities that you come from, right? So be proud of the work. Remember to come back, show off the work that you've done at the library. Show off the library to your friends. Bring visitors. Come back and always tell people about the Library of Congress. Third, don't forget about the people. You've spent the last couple of weeks working with a great body of interns from all across the United States. Keep in contact with them. Cherish those relationships, and going forward in your professional lives, you'll have the opportunity to work with other great people. You'll serve customers. You'll work with other colleagues. You'll work for supervisors, and you'll lead teams. Always remember that these are people with families, people with interests, and people with all kinds of diversity that you should always relish in, right? Don't focus on mission or the dollars at expense of forgetting the people that they are behind, right? So those are my key words of advice. To summarize, embrace diversity. Never stop learning. Never stop meeting new people. Never stop exploring new ideas. Be proud of your work. Don't be egotistical, but understand the value of the work that you support and the value that it brings to the people around you. At the library, we serve Congress and American people. In your next endeavors, you will find value, understand the value of what you will do and cherish that and be proud of that. And then 3, remember the people. Stay connected to each other and stay connected to the people that you'll work with in the future. Thank you.
Good morning, I'm Barry Howard with Internship and Fellowship Programs. I think at this point in our program, we're going to recognize all of the interns, not collectively, but individually and for their accomplishments. You've heard them mentioned already. Dr. Shogan mentioned them early on and some of her talking points, and then you've heard other highlights throughout other speakers' presentations. But this is going to be a full enumeration. And but not only that, to place a name with a face as they come up here and are recognized in a celebratory manner. So first we will have up John Carlos Barrera, who contributed to developing a communication plan that focuses on expanding opportunity for internships at the library by providing a list of 26 organizations that focus on the advancement of individuals from diverse backgrounds. Next, we have Kennedy Barrerto Aristide, who produced new video content for the library's social media platforms, including 10 interviews focused on initiatives like the Machine Learning Summit, LOC 3D Pilot, Innovator in Residence Program, and By the People. Next, we have Anne-Marie Cadiz Rivera, who created a list of publicists for contact information related to past national book festivals, organizing the information in Excel so that it can be used to generate a mailing list. And then Angel Carusquio Benoit, and he researched South American election cycles and co-authored a 3-page CRS insight report on the Argentine 2019 elections and another on the Uruguayan 2019 elections. And Jesus Cervantes Pina, who contributed to assessing the condition of the National Collection, a grant project at the library funded by the Andrew W. Mellon Foundation, and cataloging and documenting over 300 volumes from 3 of the 5 university partners involved in the project. Alessandra Siontre Jimenez provided customer service to low vision and print disabled patrons calling about the status of their application to receive a currency reader, and translated online resources for Spanish-speaking users of the Braille and audio reading download service. And then Cecilia Contreras, who proofread 700 records of information about the collection currently in process of being published and rehoused, inventoried and produced records for over 2,000 miscellaneous legal documents from Latin America and Spain dating as far back as the 15th century. Melody Ethley, one of our speakers today, interviewed and collected information from the members of the library's user experience team to diagram an organizational structure of and related projects currently undertaken by the team. Cynthia Gonzalez collaborated on 5 projects within the digital content management section, spanning a variety of topical areas from military weapons testing to copyrights, web analytics, and datasets. Melinda Gonzalez created an inventory of 500 sources related to Latin American composers held in the music division, working with primary sources such as holographic scores and original correspondence, many of which are one-of-a-kind objects. Alejandro Mansbach served as program assistant for 3 key initiatives of the Internship and Fellowship Programs Division, including the planning of the 2020 Junior Fellows Summer Interns Program, which involved record keeping, communication, and promotion. Francisco Mejia learned how to use cataloging modules of the library's integrated library system, then created original bibliographic control records, researched for duplicate copies of cataloging records, and searched for duplication records. Katia Mendez served as the communication assistant for the Congressional Programs and Communication Office, assisting in the creation of social media content of 35 to 40 tweets per week, promoting congressional research services products and services at targeted audiences. And Guadalupe Rojas, who we heard from earlier, created spreadsheets with descriptive information of more than 1,500 manuscripts and rare books, which facilitated the generation of cataloging records for these rare materials, as well as edited and formatted public blog posts for the Four Corners of the World International Collections webpage. Christine Yu inventoried, cataloged, and preserved the publishing office's backlog and current collection of book and non-book materials, collaborated with the office's team to create an archive that would meet their specific research and records management needs. Alejandra Rosales Zamora, last and not least, contributed to a draft of the Office of the Chief Information Officer's Information Technology Continuity of Operations and Disaster Recovery Plans as part of the work of the Business Continuity Disaster Recovery Program, of which Max is the head. And that's it. So thank you.
Well, I am glad to be here. I am glad to see the culmination of a lot of work and a lot of talent right here. My name is Eric Eldridge, and I'm a program specialist in IFP. IFP is a very small team, and we do a lot of work to, as we were stood up in IFP, to provide engagement and education, professional development, to give you more than just working at an internship. And I hope that you've seen in your conversations here today and in your conversations that you'll have in a few minutes about how connected you can be to the Library of Congress. When I came here in 1994, my hair was a little bit darker. My hair was a lot longer down to my waist. Things have changed over time because I knew that I wanted to work here when I found out what the Library of Congress was. I grew up with libraries. I loved libraries, but not a library on steroids, like that is the Library of Congress. It is an august organization. It is this huge enterprise that touches so many people's lives, not only your life as interns, but the lives of your family as they've heard about and are bragging about you being at the Library of Congress. And you have steeled yourself. You were able to stay calm, cool, and collected as you did your interview. You stayed calm, cool, and collected as you were trying to figure out, where's the West Dining Room? And all of those places. You've built a lot of confidence along the way, but most importantly, we want you to build your connections here with the library. So if you look in the back of your program booklet, you might see yourself reflected. I'm a bit of a boomer, so I don't have all of these these things, but I believe some of you have Instagram. How many of you have Instagram? And how many of you on Facebook? I'm at least on Facebook. Twitter, right? YouTube and Pinterest. It's so important to stay connected with the Library of Congress. There are ways that you can inspire other people, you can educate people, and you can help them engage with the Library of Congress yourself. You are essential to the mission of the library, to engage with the American public, and also to show them that there's a lot of cool stuff here and the stories that you can tell them. I hope that you take those memories with you. I hope that you will connect to our RSS feeds, whatever your favorite. There's a YouTube channel for the Library of Congress. There are so many other lectures on our webcast that allow you to stay connected with the library. It's so important to stay engaged, and we're glad that you're part of the Library of Congress colleagues. So I'll close by saying stay calm, cool, and connected.